So I've been asked to talk to you a little bit about postseason communication with your athletes. First thing I'd recommend to all coaches is to make sure at the end of the season you have an opportunity for a debrief. So before the players go off on vacation or break, you take some time to talk about what they've just achieved and maybe talk about some goals. But then critically, once you give them the break, let them enjoy their break for a sustained period of time. Don't try to communicate with them too much and really let them go and unwind. And then slowly, as you start to approach the next season and the pre-season phase, begin some communication with all the great media opportunities you have, and maybe begin to share with them some goals and aspirations, individual and collective, for the upcoming season. And then, when the players show up for pre-season, for your first opportunities to get together, hopefully you've created a little bit of a foundational base to enjoy the remainder of your season. I believe strongly that we should give the players a period of complete dead time. We're asking our athletes for a lot of attention during the season, and we are going to ask them for their attention during the off-season, but I really believe firmly that we need to have a period of pretty much zero communication with them, just to let them completely go and free their minds of the challenges and enjoyment, of course, of playing youth soccer. And perhaps the hardest person to enjoy that downtime will actually be the coach, because typically as a coach, we're already starting to plan for the next year. But my strong recommendation to all youth coaches and coaches of high school, college-age players, and of course professional coaches as well, is to really enjoy some period of break. Get away from the game, get away from the communication chains, and enjoy just a little bit of time to free up the mind and free up your thoughts. And as the player begins to enjoy their break, and hopefully the coach does too, this is a great time for parents to enjoy a break as well. So the time commitment of weekend tournaments, travel to and from trainings, this is an opportunity for the parent to unwind. And we really need to encourage our parents to understand that sometimes the best long-term development for their player is to have these periods of break. And so it's important that the parent buys into that as well and really tries to avoid the subject of soccer for that short period of time. So one recommendation I have for coaches in their communication with their athletes is to be conscious of whether you want to communicate with the individual player or with the group. Sometimes the information you want to share will be just specific to one individual, and other times you want the whole group to know. Certainly avoid criticism or anything negative with any individual athlete from attention to the whole group. And then critically, and I think this is just a good protocol, is whenever you communicate with an athlete individually or in small groups, make sure that you have an extensive CC list, which would include the parents or other supervising adults. And this way, the player and the coach has a little bit of a surety that other people are aware of the communication and everything is soccer related and ultimately positive. So some advice perhaps for soccer parents out there is take some time to understand who's going to be coaching your child to make sure it's a good fit. This is important because your child may not necessarily communicate well or have a great relationship with a certain individual for any number of completely legitimate reasons. But it's critical as a youth soccer parent that you take time to understand who's going to be coaching your children. And again, to the point for the coach-athlete communication, always make sure that a third party is attending to that communication for the best interests of the athlete and the best interests of the coach.